Hi, this is Terry from Fabric Junction in Sturgis, South Dakota. And today I'm going to show you how to do the assembly of your block of the month that we have been doing for 9 months out of our beautiful Marcus batiks. As you can see, once again, I have the radiant reflections up behind me, and I'll walk through the assembly process with you. If you look at your pattern, you'll notice you'll put sections together. This one is section 1, and it will go across the top. Here's section 1 on our radiant. You'll have section 2. Oh, I have to admit, I got them backwards. Section 1 is over on this corner. I forgot we are going around the clock. So 2, let me get it out here so you can see it. There is 2. And then we're going to jump to number 7, which goes across the bottom. So those are the pieces that are pretty self-explanatory. You have your smaller block, your spacers, your larger block. All 3 of those are done in that fashion. What I want to show you today is the other sections, and that is sections, I still have my notes, I may not. They are sections 3, 4, and 5. Should have known. Anyway, sections 3, 4, and 5. It shows, this is where we're going to start sewing these sections together. So this is what I would like you to do. You have a little piece on this one. You'll have a little section here. When you sew these together, this one will be sewn onto here. Here's where I sewed it together. This little guy is sewn onto the bigger star, but we don't sew it complete. That's the important part. So when this little spacer is added, do not sew it clear down. Leave a couple inches. Then you'll sew your top section on. You'll sew this little side. Now, one of the things I did, the pattern walks you through it very well, but one of the things I did is I went ahead, and you'll do the same thing for section, I believe this one is 6. You'll leave a little spot again. I went ahead and sewed this one up to this one earlier than what the pattern says. And the reason for that is because now that I have this funky L with my 2 little cutouts, I'm ready to assemble. So I'll take section 5 and sew these 2 together. Now when you sew them together, sometimes your sections will line up. So you'll line up your little seam allowances, and sometimes they won't. As you can see there, it's not going to. As you progress across, it's not going to. So don't get upset if everything doesn't line up. Let me see, here's another great one. Let me go back and show you this one. As we come down, this intersection doesn't match up with any here on the whole thing. As you can see, there isn't any spot. So all I had to do was make sure I lined up here and I lined up here. That nothing lined up. But yet on this corner, this little piece did line up. And you'll be able to tell the minute you start putting them together. Like when I grabbed these 2 here. Those 2 wanted to line up. After I get this sewn, then I would flip it over, and I'm ready to sew this section. And that's the reason I went ahead and added this, because I wanted to sew these all at the same time. Now that I've gotten that far, I'm ready to add my other pieces. So then I just slowly go around and add my pieces. If I remember right, I add my top one, I go down my side, I work away across the bottom, in which now I'm ready to handle this little section here. And I have the body of my quilt put together. Once you have the body of the quilt put together, you'll sew your little squares into long strips that will be sewn to the sides of your quilt. And you'll have 4 of them. Sew them to the sides, as you see here, and that will finish your quilt. Now with that, I did promise you a quilt that we will make out of the scrap. So check in next week and we will be posting our scrappy R&R that was made completely out of our scrap pieces we had left over from this. I hope that you have enjoyed this one, and do check out our other block of the months that are coming out. And glad that you followed us here at Fabric Junction in Sturgis, South Dakota.